Do you want to know why the Primo 121 halfling chain is worth every penny you spend on it? Today we're going to do and explain a review on the Primo 121 halfling BMX chain. Like always, we're going to tell you the ins and outs about this chain, what it fits, what it doesn't fit, the differences by why it's strong, why it's not strong, tell you where you can buy this chain. We're also going to tell you a bunch of other facts about like sprockets and chains, and then we're going to tell you where you can buy this chain as well. With we're going to tell you how you can win a bunch of free parts from our shop, as well with winning a free bicycle by just liking this video, subscribing, commenting below, and turning on your notification bells. So yeah, let's get to it. So this Primo halfling chain has been one of our best-selling chains, and there's a lot of reasons why. First off, if you're not too familiar with chains and stuff like that, there's a difference between a full link chain and a half link chain. The big difference is that when you break down the chain is able to get broken down in half increments. Before, you had to break the chain in like one link plus another half in order to break your chain down. What that allows you to do is to shorten up your rear end length by just a little bit. There is a big assumption that, hey, if I buy a different frame, my chain has to be different, or I can use the same chain, or all these other weird assumptions that BMXers have. But I'm gonna tell you right now that if you use the same back wheel with the same drive, and you use the same front sprocket and the same exact chain, and you don't cut it at all, and you put it on one frame to the other frame, and it's exactly tight and everything, and fits in the frame, your wheelbase is exactly the same. So let me explain that to you. If you're using the same front sprocket, the same rear sprocket, and you're using the same exact chain without cutting it, it's exactly the same rear end. The reason why is because the actual length it takes to suck up that chain to make it tight from the front sprocket to the back sprocket, that length is only allowing you to pull it so far. So let's say you're doing a tug of war, and there's two people on each side of the rope. It doesn't matter if they go to the other side and they're still pulling on the end of the rope. The rope's still the same length, and it's still going to be the same distance. So therefore, that happens the same way as it happens on your bike. So if you're buying a different frame and you want the rear end to be shorter, make sure that you take some links out of your chain. So if you take links out of your chain, that means your rear end's getting shorter. If you're adding links, that means your rear end length's getting longer. So just understand that, and from frame to frame, depending how large a dropout slot is, you actually won't you won't be able to keep the chain the same length. You actually have to cut the chain in order to fit that frame, or vice versa. You add links to fit that rear end of it, that frame. So with that said, that's why half links are really cool. It's because the normal chains are a link and a half, so sometimes it just puts it in an odd position where you add a link and a half and then it just hangs off the end. Or if you take a link and a half out, it slams it to the dropout and you can't pull your wheel off or take your chain off. So being a half link chain, that makes it really cool. So that's a big difference from this regular chain and then a half link chain. Another thing is that the half link chains tend to be a lot stronger. There's a couple different reasons why. Usually when you're buying a half link chain, it's a higher end chain. So the materials that are made or make up this chain are a lot stronger. So like this Primo chain, it has heat treated pins, and it has heavy duty plates. So if you look at it, notice those pins are black, and that's usually from the heat treating process, and then they're smashed together. So it actually makes these pins very tough on it. Another thing is that the rollers, those things are heat treated as well. So if you see the little rollers, they also have like a tint of black on it, and that's because they're heat treated as well. So with the thicker plates on this and heat treated pins, that makes a chain a lot stronger. Also too, I noticed that these things are naturally bent. So for some reason, just how they're bent allows a chain not to twist up as much. Just because they're bent into the inside of the plate. And a lot of these chains will fit on other chains, but a lot of the half links, they're a lot thicker than the 410 chain. The 410 chain is pretty much like your basic beach cruiser chain or your basic bike chain. Those things aren't heat treated. The plates aren't super thick. They're pretty basic. That's why they're like $10. They really just aren't good quality. They look like a chain, they ride like a chain, but they're gonna snap like a piece of twig or a thin rope because they're not strong. Eventually, it stretches out and it actually breaks. So that makes the half links really, really cool. Also too, the half links, they don't tend to stretch as much, I've noticed. So like when you ride the chain, you usually stand on like right foot forward or left foot forward, and when you go to take off, you put more pressure on like the right side if you're right foot forward, you put more pressure on the left side, and then that chain, it spins around and it actually always stops at like a certain point, and there's like 3 little spots that it always stops on, and that's where it's gonna stretch a chain out more because you're actually pressing on that chain and causing it to take off, and right there is where it stretches. So that's why sometimes you guys have a tight loose spot, but running this Primo half-link chain, it's gonna minimize the actual stretching of that chain, so your chain will actually last a lot longer. This chain is, like I said, it has super heavy duty plates, it has heat treated pins, that's pretty cool. And then I know I want to kind of talk about a bunch of little different things and just a bunch of little things about chains that to kind of clear it up. And we always get people saying, hey, why do you suggest the half link chain, and why don't you suggest the other chains and stuff like that. The other chains that are full links, the only reason I don't suggest those ones is because there's always a weakest link, and the weakest link is usually in the half link chain, that piece of chain that they add with it. So what they'll do is they'll have a heat treated chain, and it'll be a good quality, but then they put a little half link in there to kind of make it so you could use that half link, but that half link isn't as strong. Also too, the plates aren't as thick usually, and the pins aren't as long. So just that chain, it is cool, but it looks kind of weird because you get a whole chain and then something, that one little half link kind of sticks out. So it looks kind of weird, but they do hold up. They do last quite a bit. They do have ramps and stuff that makes it ride a little bit smoother, but just the half links look so much cooler. And I know there's a lot of guys out there that are like, ooh, I don't like half-link chains. Every time I buy one, they freaking break. I just want to get a regular chain. Which, yes, I understand that. They don't break if you use the master link, because the master link is actually not pushing this pin back in. And pushing that pin back in is really what's actually causing your chain to break. I've seen a lot of avid BMXers and a lot of pros, and they come in here and they kind of, talk some crap to me, and I just kind of listen to them and let them, vent to me. But deep down inside, I kind of laugh at them because it's actually them that's making their chain not break. I get a lot of people come in here saying that like your chain break, the half links break, this and this and that. But every single chain that I've ever put on, I make sure that I do certain things to it so that the chain doesn't actually break. And usually where the chain breaks, it breaks from where they put it on. And that's because they get very impatient and they try to put it on really quick, or the chain breaker goes on crooked, and they just can't finesse a chain, to be honest with you. And that's because what happens is when they put this chain back together, they push this pin in, and then they use the chain breaker to push that pin back on, which I think is a bad no-no. Mainly because what it does is the threads are way out on the chain breaker, and when it threads in, it's got another pin that sits there and it wobbles and it goes really funky, and what it does is it pushes it in like at a wrong angle and then ends up bending the chain breaker pin. That's why I don't lend out my chain breaker. Every time I lend it out, somebody brags like they know how to use a chain breaker and blah, blah, blah. It's just hot air. what they're doing is they're messing up my chain breaker, and then they feel embarrassed about it, and then they low-key just slide it to me without me noticing. They dart out the door, and then I go to try to fix somebody else's chain, and then I notice the pin's bent. You know what I mean? I know they know it was bent, but they didn't have the balls to tell me, like, hey, I messed up your chain breaker. I really didn't know what I did. But that's the reason why. I've seen it, I don't know, probably 100 times of, you know what I mean, of doing that. And so what we suggest is getting a pair of pliers and smashing it down and actually pushing the pin in a little bit more. What that'll do is it'll actually make it come down a little bit farther. Then you can actually use your chain breaker, because then the pin's not, you know what I mean, floating on 2 pins like this, and it's not getting super wobbly. But another thing I see what they do is they push it in, and then they're not really paying attention. They just kind of like look at it, but they just, you know what I mean, see it's pushing in. But what happens a lot of the times is this pin comes and it actually hits this other little side plate. And what's funky about it is they really don't pay attention, and these plates actually, instead of being lined up like this, they kick sideways like that. So then the pin goes like this, and then it ends up hitting like not perfectly in that hole. And when it does that, what it does, and you've seen this on a lot of chains, is that this side of the plate actually anthills. And what I'm talking about anthill, if you turn it sideways, it looks like an anthill where it pops up and then the hole's right there. What they do is they get really lazy and frustrated because they've been working on this chain so long. They just push the pin through and it just ends up going through. What it actually does is it actually, on the pin, if you look at this one here, I don't know if you can see it real close, but there's a little knot on, or like a little part that sticks out. It means that it's a little bit bigger than the shaft. And what that does is it stops it from going all the way through the plate. That thing kind of busts off when you pop the chain off. And when it pops off, you've probably seen a little tiny metal shaving ring. That's that little piece coming off. So what that does is that comes off. Now it's actually the same size as that hole, maybe a little bit smaller. And when they push it through, this little hole is no longer the same size of that. It's actually bigger because they punched it out through the side of it. And then what that does is this hole's really big, and then they shove the little pin through. And when it's like that, it's just literally the pin's just floating in there. It's not actually connected to this plate. So what that does is when they end up cranking down on it, when that chain spins and eventually that one gets right onto their top crank, they go and pedal real hard. What it does is it pulls the chain sideways like this, and it pulls it right out. And then that's what causes their chain to break. So what I suggest to do is when you do that, push it in quite a bit if you want. To be honest with you, I don't even use a chain breaker to push it in. I use a chain breaker to take the pin out, and then I use pliers to actually smash the pin into this other side and into the other plate. And that's because the pliers aren't going to put as much pressure on it, and it'll actually pop the whole link all the way through the chain. Once it pops it through all the way through the chain, what I'll do is I'll stick this link into the vise, and I'll actually smash it with a vise. Or if you don't have a vise, I would use vice grips and tie them extra tight and smash them down a couple times. And what it'll do is it'll actually smash the end of this and make it smash up a little bit bigger on this side. So even though if your hole's a little sloppy right here, this actual little nail head will stick on the other side, and it won't just fall out of the hole. So a lot of you guys that are having troubles with the chain, I hope that helps you out. I'm not trying to rag on you. I just want you guys to know I do see what you guys are doing, and a lot of other people do too. We're just here to help. You guys get really stubborn and you don't want to listen to anybody because you feel like you know it all. And I'm not claiming that I know it all, but I'm just saying, hey, I see these little tips and tricks that I see you doing, and I'm just trying to help you out without putting you on the spot here in the store or anything like that. So hopefully you guys watch this and you can see that, and you can try it out on your own and see if it works out for you. But to be honest with you, these chains are just as tough. They're super, super strong. If you do some of those tips that I told you, it'll allow your chain to last a lot longer, and it'll keep you rolling for a long time. But this chain fits any 1/8" sprocket. It fits any guard sprocket. It's not super, super wide. The pins don't stick out super far like some of the other half-link chains. It comes pre-waxed or anything, or oiled. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool straight out of the box. If you're Yeah, I mean, lubing your chain and stuff like that, I would suggest not lubing your chain. If your chain is old, so old, and you just leave it outside and it ends up like just getting rusty and stuff like that, like I would seriously suggest you just switching out your chain. I understand you want to save a buck or something like that, but once you start adding oil to it, the oil attracts dirt, and that dirt gets inside of these and it wears out your sprocket, it wears out this chain, it makes it super, super, super sloppy, and then also too, it rubs on your pants and it gets your pants really dirty. So it's a big no-no to lube your chain. These come moderately lubed, which is super, super cool. Also too, if you notice, Primo has a pretty cool Primo logo on the side right there, and it has a stamp, makes it look super, super cool. These chains are available in chrome. They do a raw color, and then they do a black. The black looks kind of like a blue color, so if you're looking for more of a black chain, I would say get the raw chain. The raw chain looks more like a black. The black looks more like a blue. We get a lot of complaints about that. But if you're looking for a black chain, I would say get the raw one. The raw one's unfinished. Looks super, super dope. These come with 100, or actually not 100. These come with 85 links on it. So this will allow you to fit any bike, even with like a, probably like a 39 tooth. If you're running a 44 tooth sprocket, you're an old school dude. You just gotta bite the bullet and buy an extra, extra chain and put them together to make a whole chain. That's probably because, you got a super long rear end and you got the big gear on the front and the back. So definitely, if you're running old school stuff, this stuff isn't cheap, so just expect to buy another one. And it's probably pretty hard for you to just go in the shop and buy a little piece. Most people don't sell a little piece or anything like that. So, old school stuff, put new school stuff on it. You just gotta bite the bullet. It's not compatible to a perfect point. But do what you can, step it up, and I hope that helps you out. Another thing too, I know a lot of people say, hey, you know what, I bought a new chain, I don't have a chain breaker. What's cool about this chain, and I think this is one of our biggest sellers about this chain, is the fact that they have a pin hanging out already. And this is super, super key to actually buying this key and putting it together, or to buying this chain and putting it together with no tools. So what you want to do is you want to put this on your frame, make sure you loosen up all the bolts, slam your back end all the way, and then stick this on the front sprocket, pull this all the way around on the back sprocket and everything, so it's like this. And then you want to put this in the actual chain link holes, and then pull your wheel back with this front part right here on the actual sprocket, and then pull it back like that. That will let you know how much chain length you have. Don't try to just hang it off the end and guess, because if you do that, most likely you're going to get it wrong. So if you put this on the front sprocket and this on the back sprocket, you pull it tight, you could actually fold one of these chain links up like this, and you could actually see where that link is going to go. And then what you do here is you could either get a grinder and grind that one off, or you could get like a nail or an Allen wrench and use that as a pin and then punch it out. And once you punch that out, you don't really have to worry about this. You can get pliers and rip it apart as long as that inside one's perfect, and then you could just pop it right in right here. And like I said, you don't need a chain breaker, just get pliers or a vise and smash it together. Make sure that pin stays lined up, and then smash it all the way through. And then make sure that this pin comes out just a little bit, just like all the other ones, and then smash it with the vise. And then you don't need a chain breaker, your chain's together. And Primo's done an awesome job to give you a super, super heavy duty chain. It makes it super awesome. Another thing too is people want to know which way this chain goes. You kind of want to look at it as like a fish. So the tail is going to be the little skinnier part, and the bigger head side is going to be towards the front. So that's kind of how a fish swims. You want this bigger part towards the front, and you want the smaller one towards the back. It'll make the chain look really nice. And you want that on the top of the chain. I know a lot of you guys flip your bike upside down and you work it on it upside down. You got to realize that if you're flipping your bike upside down, everything's upside down too. So don't put your chain on this way, because when you flip it over, it's going to be backwards. So remember that. But overall, Primo killed it on this chain. This chain is definitely one of our best sellers. It looks super, super dope. This is a chain I actually ride. I don't think you need a lot of the other bigger stuff. The other stuff does look kind of cool, but it weighs a lot more. These chains are relatively light. They're super heavy duty. These last the whole lifespan of me actually riding the bike, so I'm pretty sure it could last you. I grind a lot. I do a lot of sprocket grinds, a lot of peg grinds, cricket grinds, bash my sprocket, and this thing always holds up. I never had a problem with it. I've never been on a street ride or anything like that and broken my chain. So Primo's been killing it with these. Just put it together right and it'll help you out. But yeah, if you're looking for one of these chains or you're looking for any other chains, you can hit up our website at stackbmx.com. You can find tons of chains right there. Just hit that little link right there. It'll give you a bunch of options of chains. Any of the chains that are on our website, we highly suggest. If you want to go with one of the half links, that's fine. Use the same tips that I told you on this, and then I'll help you your chain last a little bit longer. Same thing as all the chains that we have on our website fit all the bikes on our website, fit all the sprockets, all the wheels, pretty much anything that's on our website, it fits. So check out our website, troll around on there, look at all the videos. We have a bunch of other videos with all the products that we sell on there, so it gives you a little bit of insight. If you want to know about sprockets and stuff like that, you can check out the videos about sprockets. It'll talk to you about that. If you want to know about the wheels, it'll tell you about the wheels. Pretty cool job by Primo. But also too, we told you how you guys can win a bunch of free stuff from us. Our next giveaway is at 2,500 subscribers, so we're gonna give away another parts package from all the brands that we carry here. We'll give away a pair of tires, a pair of grips, a pair of pedals, and a seat. So if you want to win that, just like Ty Arnett, that won the last one at 1,000 subs. All he did was he commented below, he made sure that he subscribed to our video, he liked the video, and he turned on his notification bells. So if you want to win too, make sure that you comment in every video, because that's what's going to help you win these contests. Because what we did was we just scrolled down through the videos. I picked one of the videos on random, and I scrolled down the comments, and I just so happened to pick his, and he was a winner. So if you want to better your chances, don't just watch this video, go through all our videos, comment on all our videos, make sure you like all our videos, make sure you subscribe to them, make sure you turn on your notification bells, because we're going to keep dropping these videos every day, and that'll help you guys win a parts package. And then at 5,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a free bicycle to one of you lucky viewers. So if you already have a bike, maybe you can give it to one of your friends that needs a bike, that doesn't have a bike, and you're trying to have a riding buddy. So that might be pretty cool. If you win it, you can maybe give it to him. Maybe you got a little brother. I don't know. But it's our way of saying thanks for watching our videos. We appreciate you guys. And thanks for supporting our shop at stackbmx.com. Make sure you buy all your stuff from there that's giving you the knowledge about BMX. If you have Instagram, follow us on Stack BMX Shop. If you want to follow me personally, follow me at Can't Stop LA. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll post another video. We appreciate you guys. Have a good night.